tell me about the backpack.
What about it?
We need to understand this because all of the text messages that we saw centered around you getting the backpack back.
I never got the backpack back.
Right.
She threw it away because I didn't give her the $60 of the rest of it.
Really threw it away.
So tell me about the backpack. What was in this backpack and why was it important?
It had 3 cell phones. It had a bunch of paperwork, W-2 forms. Had my Social Security card in there. It just had a bunch of laptops.
Did you leave the backpack at her house or did they take it from you at some point?
They took it away from me when I got jumped outside her house.
And how did you know that it made its way back to her?
Because she called me and told me that they threw it outside her house and she picked it up and put it in the closet.
I picked it up and I called him and I was like, I got your backpack. And he's like, I'm on my way to the hospital. And that's when he said he got jumped by 2 random people and they pulled out a gun on him.
Well, it doesn't seem like he thinks it was random. Has he ever told you before that he thinks it was your ex-boyfriend who jumped him?
Yeah, because I blocked him. I haven't been talking to him, so.
Go ahead.
If you refer to page 30, I said, that's all good and handy, still doesn't change the fact I have a broken rib. And she said, I never knew he was doing that, so I don't know why you try and blame me. So in other words, she knows who did it.
Look, you know who did it.
Right.
Why aren't you suing him?
Because I don't know his name. I'd rather be suing him than suing her. But the fact that it happened at her house, inside her residence, her place to stay, technically she plays a part in it, so.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and open this up to my colleagues for further questions.
On page 19 of the plaintiff's evidence, he says, I didn't leave him. What did you mean by I didn't
When
leave
she
him?
said you left her oldest son.
You say, I didn't leave him. I was forced to leave. I was beat up by your friends for no reason. And you say, Ms. Milan, yeah, because they thought you let him in. Did you say that?
I see it.
And what you meant by that was that he let in your ex-boyfriend who then rummaged around your house and stole your property. Isn't that true? That he taunted you about it on social media. Isn't that true?
Well, I ain't tell nobody to beat him up. That's my whole thing. Nobody got beat up at my house. I ain't tell him to beat him up. If they've seen him down the street, that's on them. But I never seen nothing.
Who is them?
Whoever did something to him.
You
or
don't
the
know
stranger.
them?
No, I don't.
Let's go to page 30. The plaintiff says to you, that's all good and handy, still doesn't change the fact I have a broken rib. And then you say, I never knew he was doing that, so I don't know why you're trying to blame me. Mr. Oliver, you never knew, but you didn't even say stop or none of that. Are you saying, when you say that she was present at the time people punched, kicked, or beat you up?
Right.
At the time?
Yes.
And you say, you told someone all my business. Is that right?
He just don't have nothing to do with nothing because he wasn't there. You're mixing him with somebody else.
Yeah.
He's one of my ex-boyfriends, the ones who took the social.
He wasn't the one there, but the whole point is he got beat up because he told all of your business.
The whole thing is I didn't send nobody to beat him up.
I believe you didn't send anyone to beat him up. My problem is I think you saw who beat him up, and you're lying to us
I
about
saw
it.
nothing.
She's not going to snitch, y'all. That's just basically what it is. That's just what it is.
Did I ask her to snitch? I asked if she knew his name.
Nope. And she isn't going to give it. She's very clear about that.
Do we have any more questions? All right, I have nothing further.
Okay.
Okay, thank you both. Parties are excused. We've reached a verdict. It's unanimous. Ms. Milan, do you know that because of your attitude here today and the way you talked, this case could have gone very much against you? And you simply cannot demonstrate an attitude inappropriately when people are trying to find out what is going on and what's the truth of the situation. We have a young man here who was hurt, who had ribs broken, which are extremely painful, essentially through no fault of his own. But unfortunately, young man, you have what we call the burden of proof. You have to produce evidence in this courtroom that leads us to believe that the defendant is more guilty than innocent. Your theory of her guilt is that she was present, she was angry with you because you let her ex-boyfriend in, and this happened in her house. And that, unfortunately, is simply not enough for us to conclude that she directed or orchestrated in any way the beating that occurred to you. In none of the text messages that happened in the beginning did you accuse her of participating. Your behavior could easily have led us to believe that you were responsible. And you know, Judge Juarez made a very good point. There's a difference between legal guilt and moral guilt. Legal guilt depends upon the proof that's produced before us. And a person can be found not legally responsible, but morally responsible, which means that God knows what happened here. If we were in a criminal court, you probably would have gone to jail for what we consider to be contempt in the way you initially addressed us. Verdict is to dismiss your complaint for failure of proof. That's the verdict of the court.